My amazing, sweet, and beautiful mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in March 2009. There are 7 stages through the slowly progressive disease of Alzheimer's. Each person's journey through these stages is unique. These stages build upon one another and often overlap, making it difficult to know where a person is in the disease progression. It was very hard for me to distinguish what stage my mom was in and when. However, now that there is little doubt she is fully in stage 6 and I understand these stages better, I feel very strongly that I need to make this video in hopes that it will help someone watching get diagnosed sooner. Many may question why, when there is nothing you can do to prevent, slow, or cure Alzheimer's. However, I believe early diagnosis is important so families can get affairs in order and have important discussions about end-of-life decisions. My mom and I never had those conversations. I tried, but by the time I was no longer in denial and realized what we were facing, it was already too late to converse about such complex matters. Stage 1, no impairment. This photo is my mom and our oldest son Tristan in the fall of 2000, when she was in stage 1. Individuals with Alzheimer's disease have a buildup of 2 types of abnormal bodies that clog their brains: beta amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. Researchers say these plaques and tangles start to form up to 20 years prior to the first symptoms even being noticeable. My mom was born May 27, 1943, and was completely symptom-free until about 2002. So it is my best guess that my mom was in stage 1 the years prior to 2002. Stage 2, very mild impairment. This photo is my mom interacting with Taylor, her granddaughter, in 2004, when she was in stage 2. During stage 2, very mild forgetfulness is present and can easily be blamed on stress or normal aging if the person is older, unlike my mom. The symptoms are very subtle at this stage and are usually not detected by family, friends, or medical providers. It is only through having lived through this, through hindsight, and having family videos that I can recognize that my mom was in stage 2 from approximately 2002 to 2005. During this stage, I can only bring to light 2 events that possibly indicated impairment in my mom. One was she had a series of doctor appointments. It was as if she knew something wasn't right and was searching for answers. She was even diagnosed with lupus in the fall of 2002, and then undiagnosed a year later. The other event occurred Christmas of 2002. She gave my then 3- and 1-year-old sons porcelain dolls as gifts. Her reasoning was that she saw the dolls and felt they resembled the boys as infants. A video clip follows of this particular experience.
That's good stuff. What is it?
It's a doll that looks like someone is a baby. Except for you were never that little. You went way big was. It's a baby. It looks like who? It's supposed to look like Tris when he was little.
Look at this
baby.
Look at the baby.
So you guys have these are glass, so you gotta be careful.
Oh, they're glass?
Yeah.
Or you can wash it, no?
Oh, they're glass. Yeah, Chris, don't do that. They're porcelain. Does that look anything like you, Travis? Yeah, it does. Well, I think it's a boy. But use Caesar to play with, okay? The one for 8 I have a picture of a photograph of my stuffed with the doll.
That Laura needs to be repaired.
Okay, I'm putting them away.
This thought process seems logical, yet at the same time, it didn't. It would have made more sense if the dolls were for me. However, they were for the boys. No blocks, balls, Legos, or trucks to play with. Only porcelain dolls. Stage 3, mild decline. My mom loved spending time in the outdoors exploring with her companion John. This is a photo of them taken in about 2006, during the time I believe my mom was in stage 3. Stage 3 shows increased problems with short-term memory, an inability to learn new materials, and trouble planning and organizing. Simple tasks, such as planning and fixing a meal, become difficult. Word issues, such as word substitutions, become noticeable. Other behaviors, such as putting household items in strange places, moodiness, isolating themselves, and hiding symptoms become common. Family members may notice these behaviors, as well as the patient lying and making false accusations against people in their lives. The person most likely is aware that something is wrong, but may not admit it. Family members and friends may begin to worry, but denial, depression, and anxiety can be present and make it difficult to distinguish between these and what is truly happening. Stage 3 is usually when misdiagnosis occurs. I believe my mom was in stage 3 from approximately 2005 to 2007. I knew something wasn't right, but it was easy to make excuses for her behaviors and issues she was having. My mom was also young, in her early 60s, so it was easy for me to be in denial. The earliest memory I have of my mom struggling happened during May 2006. I had to travel to Iowa with our youngest daughter. My mom agreed to stay and help my husband with the other 3 children while I was away. I told her to drive our van as she would be taking our 2 boys back and forth to school. On the first morning, I called just after the time she was supposed to drop them off. I asked her how it went, and she was hesitant to answer. Finally, she explained that they were still sitting in the school parking lot. She seemed flustered and said that she couldn't figure out how to open the van doors to let the boys out. I could hear a movie playing on the van DVD system, which let me know that the boys were probably unaware that they were even at school. I explained to my mom she simply needed to turn the movie off and make sure the van was in park so the doors would unlock. This was easy to excuse as she hadn't driven our van before, and the child locks on the doors were a more modern feature, allowing the doors to only be unlocked if the vehicle was in park. But really, during this stage, the thing I remember most is the complaining and false accusations. My mom seemed absolutely miserable during this time. She complained about everything in her life and nothing seemed right. She was negative, which was very unlike her. She struggled with baking and cooking, and she had always been an excellent cook. She made chicken noodle soup one night, but forgot to put in the chicken. She burned the Thanksgiving pies, yet still brought them to the family gathering. She changed some of her habits, and she would wear strange clothing combinations. On one occasion, she was wearing 6 different necklaces. Another example is she started wearing thong underwear and never had before in her life, that I know of. By 2007, I was worried enough to get her to a neurologist. She was misdiagnosed that May with depression. For me, having a reputable doctor look me in the eyes and tell me that my mom did not have dementia was my ticket back into denial. Stage 4, moderate decline. This picture was taken in July 2008 at a family gathering during the time period that I believe my mom was in stage 4. Stage 4 presents increased decline in short-term memory. The ability to remember recent events is drastically impaired. Everyday tasks become more and more difficult, the planning of them as well as executing them. Higher level tasks such as managing finances, becomes extremely difficult. Individuals will repeat statements, stories, or questions over and over. They may also dress inappropriately, no longer participate in hobbies, have mood swings, and have paranoias. My approximation of my mom being in stage 4 is from 2007 to 2009. My mom would repeat stories from the past over and over. A huge red flag for our family was when she began telling the story of her first child's birth, my oldest brother. Robert lived only a few hours. We knew about him, that Mom almost died giving birth, that he didn't make it, and that was all we knew. However, in stage 4, my mom began telling the story of his birth and death in detail, as if it had just happened. She would tell this story over and over and to anyone who would listen. She would repeat other stories too, sometimes getting past events mixed in with current events, all in one story. An example of this is when my brothers went on an Alaskan hunt. During one single phone conversation, she told me about their hunt at least 3 times. She spoke of my Uncle Buddy and my dad being on the hunt with my brothers. My uncle and dad had gone to Alaska years before, but not on the trip my brothers were on. During this stage, my mom struggled with mail and finances. She was making donations through the mail and ordering items she didn't need. She bought a book about Alzheimer's disease because she thought it sounded interesting. My mom was a banker all her career life. It was during this stage I was finally forced out of denial because of banking errors. Along with being $1,000 overdrawn, she was making some very basic and some very strange errors. See for yourself. This first example is from June 2008. The numbers and written words to correspond with the numbers don't match. She has $227.29, but only wrote 229 over 100. She forgot the $27. This next example is from July 2008. I felt this error was the most startling. She signed her name on the for line and left the signature line blank. Then, in August 2008, she used a check out of sequence. The other checks during this time were all in the 830s. On the next example, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong, except she didn't put the year. It was September 2008. This final example from December 2008 is what I believe was her attempt to withdraw $275 cash. However, the numerical amount and the written amount are very confusing. The words indicate she wanted $275. The numbers indicate she wanted $200.75. Why would she get cash with 75 cents? It just doesn't make sense. So, in fall 2008, I started searching for the best doctor I could find. Dr. Bernick of the Lou Ruvo Cleveland Clinic for Brain Health in Las Vegas, Nevada, diagnosed my mom with Alzheimer's in March 2009. A diagnosis of Alzheimer's is never 100%, but he felt my mom had either frontotemporal dementia, Pick's disease, or Alzheimer's. After comparing scans from 2007 and 2009, he felt Alzheimer's was the best diagnosis as she had shrinkage throughout her brain. People often ask me if my mom knows she has Alzheimer's, or they will ask me how she reacted to this diagnosis. Many people will acknowledge and comprehend that they have this disease. This was not the case with my mom. The following clips were made on our way into Las Vegas for a secondary PET scan. You will see my mom simply doesn't seem to be able to put into words what this diagnosis means or how she is feeling.
Do you understand what Dr. Burnett told you last appointment? What you were diagnosed with, how you were diagnosed with Alzheimer's? Do you understand that?
And you probably don't, I don't know if you know, like, some of the things are harder for you or not, but we can tell, the people that have been around you all your life. And that's why I took you to the doctor to begin with. Because, like, you just weren't the same as you used to be, a little bit. Yeah. And so when he did the MRI, he found that your brain there's stuff happening in your brain that you can't control. I mean, it's like having diabetes or cancer or something, but it's Alzheimer's, and it's making your brain go littler. They like shrink a little bit. So that's why today you're going to have the PET scan, because then they'll get a better picture of your brain and see where the atrophy is, and if it's, maybe get the areas and be able to help you, hopefully, or get more information at least, So, but then that's why he started you on the Aricept too, the pill that you've been taking every day is the Aricept. And how do you feel that's working? Have you had side effects? No. That's good. You seem better, a little bit better. You interacted with the kids really good this time and everything, and so that's a good thing, a good sign. So you'll take that every day, and hopefully that'll help to slow everything down. But that's just I guess what we're facing, so we just have to, work through it. How have you been feeling?
I just don't, you're a situation that I don't like to be in, and I can't get out of it.
Yeah. How can I help you?
I don't know.
What would be your ideal situation? Do you have an idea? Stage 5, moderate to severe decline. This picture was taken several months after my mom began living with us full-time in 2011, during the time I believe she was in Stage 5. Stage 5 presents severe gaps in memory and judgment. Safety and personal hygiene become major issues. Alzheimer's patients will need assistance to manage day-to-day with all activities. Their conversations may be repetitive or become fixated on one subject. They no longer have the ability to understand complex ideas. However, they can usually remember significant details about themselves and their lives. The following clips are from April 2009. My mom had just been diagnosed a month earlier, and I believe these are good examples of the beginning of Stage 5. She seems to be functioning quite well. However, notice she can't identify or think of the word monkey. As you watch this clip, notice her hair is done, she has jewelry and makeup on, she is fit and trim, and she can form sentences and communicate well. She is interacting appropriately with her granddaughters as they sit at the table and color together.
Mine are gray clouds in the sky.
And when I
Yeah.
Are you coloring with Grammy, Taylor?
have more fun,
Yeah.
I take my
That's what we're doing.
What are you coloring, Mom? What are you coloring?
I take
Whatever this little guy is.
them out.
Who is he? Who is he? Curious George.
Yeah. Yeah, that's who he is. Okay. She goes, oh, so
Not.
Tell Grammy to write her name on that and the date. So you already have it for you. I believe my mom was in stage 5 from 2009 to 2012. This is the time period she stopped cooking and driving due to safety reasons. I also distinctly remember her conversations being fixated on one subject or another, especially during 2009. One particular day, as we were traveling from Las Vegas back home, she talked about the 1950s nuclear bomb testing at the Nevada test site for the entire hour. She went on and on about the mushroom clouds and what they looked like. During this stage, she had a childlike enthusiasm about her as she would excitedly repeat a story. She once brought a small pine tree with her to visit us. Each morning she would get up and show us her jungle as if we hadn't seen it the day before. Hygiene became more and more of an issue as this stage progressed. She went from being able to somewhat take care of her hygiene to ignoring it or doing things like putting lotion in her hair. Bathing has been completely assisted since 2010. The following clips are from 2011 toward the end of stage 5. Notice how her hygiene had changed. Her hair is not fixed. She had no makeup or jewelry on. She had gained weight, which was something she would have never allowed to happen in the past. During this clip, you will also see I caught on film my mom using my name. This is the last time period I remember her using my name. I am not sure at this point if she understood that the person filming her and Tony in the pictures are the same person. Say hi to Grandma.
hello.
We're going to make a movie of your apartment, so show me where your apartment is and we'll send this to Grandma. Go that way. Go show us where your apartment is. Yeah. Where?
Right there.
What does it say?
Right here.
Yep. That must mean it's your place, huh? What? Yeah. And what else is here? Tell us about the quilt.
Yeah.
Who made that quilt?
Well, it was a long time ago when people didn't have anything at all. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So we just kind of thought we had to learn.
What'd you find? Those quilt squares?
Mm-hmm.
And who made the quilt squares? Your grandma?
Mm-hmm.
And then you put them all together, huh? Yeah. Yeah. And then who's that good looking kid? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that Michael?
Yeah.
And go to the next one. Yep, go to the next one. Who's in the next one over here?
Who's that?
Who is that? Who is that?
It's Tony.
Yeah. There's me.
Yeah.
Stage 6, severe decline. This picture was taken recently. Despite the fact that she really eats well, she only weighs about 110 pounds now. Her recent physical and blood work revealed that everything is near perfect physically, just not in her brain. During this stage, patients become more and more unaware of their surroundings. They may know their own name and will probably distinguish between familiar and unfamiliar people, but won't know family or friends' names, who they are, or why they are familiar. They will not be able to identify familiar objects or use them correctly. Caregivers will need to provide assistance with normal everyday tasks and activities such as toileting, bathing, dressing, and eating. Conversation may not make sense as words and sounds become tangled and jumbled. Anxiety presents itself in wringing of the hands, shredding tissues, repetitive actions, or picking at clothing or skin. Sundowning behaviors are most apparent at this stage. Sundowning is when such behaviors as agitation, suspiciousness, delusions, aggressiveness, repetitive behaviors, pacing, and wandering become more noticeable during the late afternoon and early evening. Sundowning can be hard to cope with for caregivers. My mom is currently in stage 6 and has been since approximately late summer 2012. Some of the symptoms of this stage have been present longer in my mom, but it was only in the last 6 months that she began to display all stage 6 symptoms. For example, she has known I am a familiar and safe person, but has been unsure of who I am since 2010 or 11. If I ask her who I am, she always shrugs, says I don't know, or says a jumble of words starting with he or she that don't really make much sense. My mom just recently became scared of her toothbrush and is agitated and upset every time I try to get her to brush her teeth. She is also very leery of the shower now, and washing her hands is a thing of the past. Fall 2012, my mom had a seizure due to dehydration. She went through about 4 to 5 months of not speaking. When she began talking again, I definitely noticed her words and sounds are all jumbled and tangled. She tries to communicate, but can't very well. Along with bowel incontinence, she is urine incontinent if we don't take her to the toilet often. She wanders, paces, and gets agitated, especially during the sundowning hours. She requires 24/7 care and relies on someone else for all her needs. My mom will shred tissues or napkins, rummage through her dresser drawers, and often does repetitive behaviors like flipping her covers back on her bed over and over. When she becomes upset or frustrated, she will curse and sometimes tries to hit me. Stage 7, very severe decline. Stage 7 is the final stage of this devastating disease. Complete care is required. The patient will not recognize their surroundings or themselves. They will lose the ability to walk, hold their head up, or communicate in a meaningful manner. The patient's muscles will become rigid. They will also slowly lose their ability to swallow. Alzheimer's is a fatal disease of the brain that is currently affecting over 5 million Americans. It is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. My mom has just recently began 2 behaviors that I am guessing are the very beginning signs of stage 7. She tends to grind her teeth during the sundowning hours and into the evening. She does this so loudly that I am worried she will break her teeth. She has also been holding saliva in her mouth and not swallowing. When I come to check on her first thing in the morning lately, she is holding a mouthful of saliva. She will do this randomly throughout the day also. She isn't automatically swallowing. As my mom slowly but surely approaches this final stage, I am filled with anxiety. Her physical health is excellent, so I am certain we will see this disease to the very end. I pray that I have the strength to watch my mom slowly die in this manner. This is not what I envisioned for my life or hers. Just as we were becoming close and building a relationship I always dreamed of this disease struck. I had hopes and dreams of her as an active and involved grandmother to my children and a friend to me. I find peace and strength in Jesus and know that even though this wasn't my plan, it is somehow in His plan. I have to trust in Him. This journey has changed me tremendously. I never felt I had what it takes to be a caregiver, but this is God's will. I feel strongly that God's purpose for me is bigger, so I not only do my best to care for her, but I also document our journey, making videos like this one, in hopes it will somehow help others. I feel extremely blessed and honored to have time with my mom.
Left will all be gone. I'm dying to love you, to be wrapped up in your arms. You love me, takes my breath away. You save me, and it takes my breath away. You deliver me, and it takes my breath away. You forgive me, and it takes my breath away. When my mind is empty, and my dreams have disappeared, only you protect me. My suffering and this fear, and you love me, and it takes my breath away. You save me, and it takes my breath away. You deliver me, and it takes my breath away. You forgive me, and it takes my breath away. Only you can reach me, only you make me alive, only you have mercy, only you can take my life, only you can take my life. When it's over and you take my breath away, when it's time and you take my breath away, you rescue me when you take my breath away. You save me when you take my was falling asleep. I dreamed of houses just like this one, full of rooms I've never seen. There's a second story that is waiting for me, in a place where you loved me. Grace is waiting for me. See your face in the windows, hear your voice in my ear.
That's pretty, huh?
Yeah.
Wendy's a good lady. That was beautiful.
You hear happy song?
We stand and lift our flames, joy arose as
Yeah.
we bow down and worship Him now. How great and awesome is He! Together we sing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was never wait. Hold on, I'm waiting. Hold on, it's time you hear the truth.
I don't think that the yes is here in the
Love's been
I can't say nothing about how I can keep just drinking.
You made me cry.
It's just drinks.
Are your eyes crying? It's pretty, huh?